Hi, everyone. Welcome again to IV English. I'm Bruce.
I'm Angela.
And I'm Wesley.
As I mentioned the last time we got together and we talked about the amazing basilisk lizard, I said that when we get together again, this time we'll be moving to Northern Europe, the beautiful country of Denmark.
That was an amazing plane ride, wasn't it?
Yep. They never serve enough food, so Wesley didn't have a good time. Well, anyway, we're going to the birthplace where someone was born, very, very famous man, Hans Christian Andersen, and he was born in a place called Odense. None of us speaks Danish fluently, so we do our best with these place names from Denmark.
Are you saying that you speak some Danish? Well, because you said you don't speak it fluently, which implies that you speak it somewhat.
Yes, my Norwegian, Swedish, and Icelandic are
poor.
Excellent.
Oh, I understand.
People can't tell that I'm from New York.
OK， 好，我们这篇文章的中文标题是绝美童话小镇奥登斯，这个地方的名字呢，老师念成 Odense。
Okay, I'll read through that. This is a 2-day lesson. Wow, we have really a lot to talk about. And Hans Christian Andersen is someone so well known. Even if you don't know him by his name, you will certainly know him by what he has produced. That was a long time ago, but...
You'll recognize it.
Yep. And for things to last a long time, they have to have some value. Or
they have to be good.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, let's get busy with our day one reading. Located on the Danish island of Fyn, Odense is truly a hidden gem for travelers. While not a conventional tourist destination, Odense, one of Northern Europe's most colorful cities, offers a unique mixture of history and culture that should earn it a place on any tourist's bucket list. Although the history of Odense dates back to before the Middle Ages, the earliest records of the city are from around the turn of the 10th to 11th centuries. In the year 1086, King Canute IV of Denmark was murdered in St. Alban's Church, a place that still stands in Odense to this day. Following Canute's death, he was canonized in 1101 and became Denmark's patron saint, which made Odense a popular place for religious pilgrimages. By the 16th century, Odense was beginning to thrive as a center of trade and manufacturing, a status it still maintains today. However, perhaps the best-known feature of Odense is that it was the birthplace of Hans Christian Andersen. He is the renowned and much-loved author of numerous children's fairy tales that remain popular even now, almost 150 years after his death. Andersen's most famous works include The Emperor's New Clothes, The Little Mermaid, The Ugly Duckling, and The Snow Queen. Today, Andersen's birthplace, his childhood home, and a museum dedicated to his life and works can all be visited in Odense. In addition, multiple statues representing his stories can be found around the city. With its rich history, quaint old-town charm, and buildings of all colors, Odense is the perfect getaway for anyone looking for an authentic Northern European experience, or anyone with a fondness for fantastical children's stories.
Okay, so located on the Danish island of Funen, Odense is truly a hidden gem for travelers. So we've started with a participle to talk about where we are, and then we say what we're talking about. And this is a classic way to start anything because that participle is going to be something that gives us interesting information or draws us in or at least tells us where something is. So we have this Danish island of Funen. So Funen, we looked it up in the dictionary, in several dictionaries, and the ones that are for about Danish, they say the Danish say Fyn, and everyone else says Funen. So you can choose. Do you want to be more Danish or more international? I don't know. And then Odense, people have more agreement on. Everyone says Odense. So this place is a hidden gem for travelers. A hidden gem is travelogue speech for a nice place to visit that people don't often go to.
OK， 所以我们可以看到他说，首先交代它的地点，它位于哪里呢？在丹麦的这个岛，那这个岛的这个发音，刚刚这个 Angela 老师讲过，我们有去查，那很多人都说这念 Funen， 但是好像这个丹麦语里面好像是把它念成 Funen， 看你觉得是哪一个。然后呢，它在这个岛上，那所以这个 Odense 它是 truly， 它真的是一个 a hidden gem， 就是一个隐藏的瑰宝。那刚刚这个刚刚 Angela 老师有提说，这个其实就旅游手册里面，他如果要讲一个比较少人去，可是很好玩很棒的一个地方，大概就会用这个词 For travelers， 就是对旅行者，对于那些游客来讲呢，这个地方是一个隐藏的瑰宝。
While not a conventional tourist destination, while means although it's not a conventional, a common tourist destination, Odense, one of Northern Europe's most colorful cities, offers a unique mixture of history and culture that should earn it a place on any tourist's bucket list. So you've probably never read or heard the name of this city before, but take a look, as they say. It has a unique mixture of history and culture. It brings these two together, and I have to say many European cities also do this. It should earn a place on any tourist's bucket list. A bucket list is a list of your dream things that you want to do or places that you want to visit.
好，所以 while 是虽然，是语气比较轻的虽然，而且它后面带来通常是一个已知的讯息。所以我们都知道，虽然呢，它不是一个 conventional 传统的 tourist destination， 就是旅游的目的地，所以不是传统的一个旅游景点。但是呢，这个地方是 one of， 它是北欧最 colorful 的 cities 之一。colorful 它可以是表示色彩缤纷，但也可以表示丰富的意思。你可以把它翻成丰富多彩 colorful， 两个意思都有，很多色彩，或者是 full of interest， 或者 very lively， 或者 exciting 都可以。好，所以它是北欧最这个色彩丰富或者丰富多彩的一个城市。那这个城市怎么样？ offers 主要动词是 offers， 它提供一个 unique 独特的 mixture， 一个结合融合 of history and culture， 就是历史跟文化的结合。那这样子一种 unique mixture of history and culture should 它应该能够 that 就是前面讲的这个 unique mixture of history and culture， 那它应该怎么样 earn it a place 为它赢得一席之地。在哪里的一席之地呢？ on any tourists 任何一个游客他的 bucket list， bucket list 就是一定要做的事情的一个清单，也就是说任何的游客他一定要去的一个地点，这个地方应该也在那个名单上面。
Although the history of Odense dates back to before the Middle Ages, so it dates almost 1,000 years, the earliest records of the city are from around the turn of the 10th to the 11th centuries. So it's even older than this, but we didn't start writing stuff down, or they didn't start writing stuff down until literally 1,000 years ago. Yes.
OK。好，所以虽然呢 Odense 这个地方它的历史 dates back to 它可以追溯到 before the Middle Ages， 在中世纪之前，换句话说这个地方在中世纪之前就已经存在了。但是呢 the earliest records of the city 就是这个该市最早的记录是怎么样 are from 是来自于大约是10到11世纪之交，那个 turn 就是世纪在交换的时候，所以差不多大概10到11世纪的那个时候才有一些写下来的历史。
In the year 1086, King Canute IV of Denmark was murdered in St. Albans Church, a place that still stands in Odense to this day. So near the end of the 11th century, the king of Denmark was King Canute the Fourth. Remember to use the, and then the number that we use, first, second, third, fourth, ordinal numbers, what order it comes in. The king was murdered in a church, St. Albans Church, and that church is still standing today. You can still walk into it and see what it looks like. And that, of course, is in Odense.
OK， 我们可以看到他说呢，在1086年的那一年呢，这个 Canute 四世国王是丹麦的这个 Canute 四世国王。通常你说国王 几世几世一世二世三世的时候，英文里面会前面要加一个定冠词，刚刚 Bruce 老师提醒各位。那这位国王他是在 Auburn 教堂里面呢被谋杀了，这个教堂呢它是 a place that still stands， 就它仍然屹立不摇，也就是它仍然还在这个地方还存在的，在这个城市里面。换句话说，今天你还可以去看到那个教堂，它还在。那 to this day 就是 at the present time as in the past， 其实就是 still 的意思，它还在。
So following Canute's death, we didn't really talk about why he got murdered, so that's interesting. But once he was murdered, he was canonized. To canonize somebody means that the Catholic Church decided that the dude was a saint. And he was canonized about 15, 16, 17 years after his death. And he became then Denmark's patron saint. A patron saint is like a saint special to a certain place. Like they are seen to have particular influence over that place. It's a little bit like 土地 in Chinese, like 土地公, 土地, that kind of a thing. Those are also some similar thing to patron saints.
Saint Patrick for Ireland.
Yeah, so Saint Patrick is a good example of a patron saint for an entire country. So because he was Denmark's patron saint, therefore, this made Odense a popular place for religious pilgrimages. And religious pilgrimages were a great way in the Middle Ages for yourself to get out and travel. You had an excuse to get out and travel. You would be like, I'm going on a religious pilgrimage. I'm going to go see these places.
OK， 所以呢 following Canute's death 就是在 Canute 死了之后呢 he was canonized 就是被封为圣人，在1101年他被封为圣人，那他成为了丹麦的 patron saint 就是守护圣人，那 which 就是指他成为一个守护圣人之后呢，这件事情就 made 使得 Odense 这个地方呢成为一个 popular place 一个很受欢迎的地方，所以这个地方这个结构我们再提醒各位，就是 make 后面加一个受词 Odense， 然后呢再加一个受词补语 a popular place， 这个补语补的是那个受词的意思，也就是说使这个受词成为这样的一个地方，所以使得这个 Odense 成为一个 popular place， 一个很受欢迎的地方。在哪方面对什么而言是个受欢迎的地方呢？对于 religious pilgrimages 就是宗教的朝圣方面呢，它很受欢迎，所以因为这个地方有这个国王，他已经变成他在这里被杀的，那他成为了守护圣人，所以大家都会到那边去朝圣。
By the 16th century, Odense was beginning to thrive as a center of trade and manufacturing, a status it still maintains today. So Odense was one of many European cities which during the 10th through the, 21st century that we're in now, they developed very, very quickly. And especially those cities that were centers of trade developed even faster than those that were located maybe in mountainous areas or far from rivers or the ocean and so on. But Odense is on a small island, so trade and manufacturing very quickly developed there.
好，所以呢到了16世纪的时候呢，这个 Odense 这个地方呢 was beginning to 它开始 thrive 繁荣， thrive 就是繁荣。那作为什么来繁荣呢？作为一个 center of 它作为一个什么的中心 trade 贸易，还有 manufacturing 制造，所以也就是说到了16世纪它开始是成为一个贸易和制造中心啊，因此它开始繁荣。那这个贸易和制造中心这样的一个地位，这样的一个 status 怎么样呢？ It still maintains today， 它今天还保持了这样的一个 status。 这个 a status it still maintains today， 这个是同位语，那这个 status 它的动词是 maintain， 所以 maintain 的受词是那个 status， a status it still maintains today。However,
perhaps the best-known feature of Odense is that it was the birthplace of Hans Christian Andersen. So one of the main reasons people go to visit this city today is because of this very famous author.
好，但是呢，也许 the best-known feature 就是最知名的一个特色 of Odense is that， 好，所以大家可以把这个语块学起来。The best known feature of something is that， 好，就这个东西最知名的一个特色就是 that 子句所要讲的。所以这个 Odense 这个地方它最知名的特色是什么呢？就是 它是 the birthplace of， 就是这是某人的出生地，它是这个 Hans Christian Andersen 这个安德生他的出生地。
He is the renowned and much loved author of numerous children's fairy tales that remain popular even now almost 150 years after his death. If you are renowned, you are famous. Much loved, you can probably guess. Numerous means many, and we're about to tell you the names of some that you might not know in English, but I'll bet you have read them in Chinese or have seen them on TV or the movies.
好，所以呢，我们可以看到 he is the renowned 就是很知名的 famous， 还有呢 much loved 深受喜爱的一个作者。什么的作者呢？是 numerous 就是很多的小孩子他们的 fairy tales 这个童话故事。好，那各位注意这个 fairy tales 重音在前面，好 fairy tales 不是 fairy tales 是 fairy tales， 所以很多小孩子的童话故事。那这些童话故事呢 that remain popular 仍然很受欢迎 even now 即使到现在都还很受欢迎。然后呢这个 now 后面一个同位语告诉你现在是怎么样呢？是差不多 after his death 在安德森去世之后差不多150年后现在还是很受欢迎他写的故事。
So Andersen's most famous works include, and we're going to give you a little list of them. So the first one is The Emperor's New Clothes,
国王的新衣
The Little Mermaid,
小美人鱼
The Ugly Duckling,
丑小鸭
and The Snow Queen.
冰雪女王。
Today, Andersen's birthplace, his childhood home, and a museum dedicated to his life and works can all be visited in Odense. So in this city in Denmark where Andersen was born, his childhood home, so it's over 150 years old, but they preserved it. The people in the city decided they want to keep the place where he grew up, and they even dedicated a museum to his life. That means the reason they built this particular museum was to honor Andersen.
好，所以呢 today 今天这个 Andersen's 他的 birthplace 他的出生地还有他的 childhood home 就是他的童年的故居，还有呢 a museum 有一个博物馆。好，那这博物馆后面修饰一下 dedicated to his life and works。 这个 dedicate 这个字呢就是 devote to a specific purpose or subject， 所以当你讲一个 museum dedicated to something 的时候，就表示这个博物馆是专门介绍某个东西，好，或专门展示什么东西。所以这个博物馆它是专门介绍或者展示安德森的 life 他的生平，还有他的 works 他的作品，所以这样的一个博物馆。所以这些东西呢 can all be visited 都可以在 Odense 这个地方你都可以去那边去参观去看。
So in addition to this, multiple statues representing his stories can be found around the city. The most famous one is that there's this beautiful little statue of the Little Mermaid in the harbor. And there's water around it. And I've not seen this personally, but I've seen photographs of it, many different photographs from many different angles. It's that popular. And it's really cute. So I imagine it would be fun to go and find all the different statues around the city. I thought there was only the one.
所以显然还有很多很有趣的 statues 雕像。好，所以 in addition 除了这些之外呢 multiple 也是很多的意思，有很多的雕像。那这些雕像呢后面用一个分词片语修饰这个雕像，分词片语就是 representing his stories， 所以这些雕像呢就代表他的故事。所以刚刚 Angela 是讲例如说有一个小美人鱼的这个雕像，那这样这些雕塑呢 can be found around the city， 所以整个都市里面都是这个童话故事代表童话故事的一些雕像。
Well, our next sentence is the final paragraph. With its rich history, quaint old town charm, and buildings of all colors, Odense is the perfect getaway for anyone looking for an authentic Northern European experience, or anyone with a fondness for fantastical children's stories. These are the reasons why so many people still visit this city that everyone knows Hans Christian Andersen, but actually not that many people know. They know he was Danish, but they don't know or didn't know that he's from Odense. So the town has a rich history. We just mentioned some things about King Canute IV. Quaint old town charm. There are some lovely old buildings and roadways and so on, churches that are very charming, very attractive. And buildings of all colors, probably the Little Red Riding Hood, that kind of story. There might be a wolf and a little girl outside of a house that's painted red. So you get to see homes that are in different colors. an authentic Northern European experience. You're pretty far north when you are in Denmark, by the way. I would not go there in January unless you want to go skiing through the streets.
If you want to experience, the Hans Christian Andersen snowfall, though, you can.
Yeah.
But I mean, what Denmark's really kind of known for is the...
cheese.
Oh, okay. I was going to get to the cheese and the ham, but what it really is kind of like a middle-class comfort represented in that. And so you can go there and just feel a sense of well-being and comfort. That's what the country is known for. There was I can't remember the name of the trend suddenly. There was a trend for Denmark-style comfortable
Danish
homes.
Furniture.
No. That's the mid-century modern Danish furniture trend, which is not associated with comfort. That's associated with 1950s cool. But I'm talking about in the last 5 or 6 years ago, there was like a Danish comfort trend, and it's an unpronounceable word, hjali or something like that.
Yeah, 好，所以丹麦他们其实也带领很多流行的风潮啊，这个各种各样不同的风潮。之前是他们的家具其实也很有特色。那我们来看看这个句子，他说呢 ，with its rich history， 就 with 可以翻成凭借着它丰富的历史，还有呢 quaint old town charm。那 quaint 就是 attractively unusual or old-fashioned， 所以有古趣的古时候的趣味的古雅的，通常可以这样翻。old town 就是这种老的城镇啊，他们的这种 charm 魅力。还有呢 buildings of all colors 啊，所以显然他们的这个建筑物呢有各种各样的颜色，五颜六色。那凭借这些东西呢，那这个 Odense 这个地方 is the perfect getaway for getaway， 它有2个意思，一个是 a short holiday， 一个短短的假期啊。那在这里呢是第2个意思，就是 a holiday destination， 就是你要度假了可以去的地方，所以它是一个很完美的度假地点。For 对谁来讲是个完美的度假地点呢 ？For anyone， 任何一个人，这个 anyone 后面开始修饰它，怎么样的任何人呢？是 looking for an authentic Northern European experience， 任何一个想要寻找一个 authentic 就正统的、真正的 Northern European 北欧的 experience 体验，所以你真的要去体验一下正统的北欧是什么感觉呢？是这样的人，所以任何一个想要去体验正统北欧的这个风味的这样的一个人，或者是or anyone with a fondness for， fondness 就是 affection 或者 liking 很喜欢，所以任何人呢，他的特色就是有一个喜好，对什么的喜好呢？对于 fantastical 就是奇幻的 children's stories， 这个 children's stories 就是小孩的故事，所以奇幻的儿童故事，你对他有特别喜爱的人也可以去，所以他这也特别提供有2种人可以去这里，是对这2种人来讲，这个城市是个很完美的度假地点。第一种人就是你想要去体验一下正统的北欧的风味啊，第2种人就是你对于这种儿童的奇幻故事你非常喜欢的人，也很适合去这个地方。
Okay, that's quite a bit of information, and this is only day 1. Please join us tomorrow as we continue talking about Hans Christian Andersen. Until then, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.